Hi, this is MA Tech Tips. In today's video, we will see how to use LaTeX for report writing for a thesis. I will start from a blank document to see step by step how we can write our thesis document in LaTeX. So we can click on this LaTeX new document. Then from this one, even you can use just some example projects from a university templates or from the academic journals, from book letters or different example or templates from LaTeX. But I will start from the blank, just the blank document. So first thing I will give a name for the project. I will say just this is a thesis report. Then I will click on create. It creates completely new LaTeX editor document. So if you are the completely new or the beginner for LaTeX, you can check my previous two videos on LaTeX just for beginners. Here we have three different just parts for the windows. The one on the left is just which is the list of the documents or the project files or the files that we're writing in LaTeX. Currently, we have just only the main file. You will see how we should just proceed next. Then here we can write the codes, just the main parts of the LaTeX. And on the right side, you will see the PDF, how it should be, just how it will be the PDF file or just the print version. So as we see, it has the title for the PDF or the document title, and then the name of the author. You can write any name on the author. I will give just this tech tips, and it has the dates. It's simple title. Then after the title, it starts from the introduction. I mean, here in the main section, only we have only the root, just backslash make title and just backslash section, which is an introduction. Okay, so this is on the preamble. You can just edit this title pages differently in different ways, but I will just make it simple. I will start from this simple title page. So the first thing I need is just I want to write a bigger document which has different sections, just different parts and different sections. So the first thing I will change is just from the document class. This is an article. Just this one is mostly used for just so for small reports or just less number of pages, but and it's so a bigger report or just a thesis format. I will say this one just a report template. You can use a book even. Book is also fine, but I prefer the report one. I say this one a report. When I change this one to report, what you see is it separates just the main the document part and the title. It gives a separate title page. Now the title page has only just the title of the page, the name and the date. You can add the logo and whatever uh, on the title. But for now, this simple title page is enough. So we have a title page, then we have the separate document page. On the new page, start from 0.1 to introduction. Okay, the first thing I want to say is just I will write just when we write a report, mostly we start from the abstract, then we have the dedication, we will have the acknowledgement pages or the list of list of figures and table of contents before the main part of the document starts. So I will start from the abstract. So we can write everything in this part of the the document class between the begin and the end file. Everything should be between this begin and end in between. But I don't want to write a bunch of a document or bunch of pages or texts inside on the same file. So I will separate each of the parts differently, and I will just include it in the main file. This is the main file. So I will click on this new file and it will open some new text file. I will say this one, this is the abstract. I will start from the abstract. Then I will create the abstract. In the abstract, I will open the abstract section. Now it doesn't have anything. So this should be a chapter. I will use this. This should be a chapter. Then I will give the name as abstract for the chapter. So the first thing is for the abstract, I don't want to have any number or just one abstract or something. Just I need only abstract as a title. I will put the star here, just not to include this style on the number before the abstract page. So then I will go back to the main file. Now I want to include the main file. Let's say now I don't want to start from the introduction. I will remove the introduction. Then the first thing is, now I have the abstract in a separate file. Then I want to include this abstract in a separate file to the main file. I will backslash, then include. When I write include, then inside the include, I have only this abstract text file. It helps me just to give it. Now I include the abstract, then we'll recompile this one and see what will. So now I have the title page, then I have the abstract page. I can write any on the abstract, just not to. I will use a package which will generate some line of text, which is called the libsum, some generic text which will give me some generic text. So inside the abstract, I would write some text. Let's include the libsum, maybe 1 to 5, 4 or 5 paragraphs, or just line of texts. Okay. Now I have the abstract page. Just I include some generic text using the libsum package. This is just a package which uses to generate some random text. So now I have the abstract. Then I need to include the dedication. I will do the same thing. Maybe this is for the dedication. I will have some separate text for the dedication. Then I will create an acknowledgement page. I will have the acknowledgement page. Then I have the acknowledgement, the abstract, and the dedication. Then I will call or just include this. I will have the abstract. Then I will include the dedication. I will include, let's say, the dedication. Then it should be the acknowledgement. Okay. Now I will compile this one and see what it looks like. Now I have the separate with the abstract. Then, okay, yeah, I didn't write in the dedication in the abstract, sorry. In the acknowledgement, I will give this one chapter. On the acknowledgement, then on the dedication, I will give also backslash then chapter, and I will put this star not to include in number, and I'll do the same thing on the abstract. Okay, now I will compile this one, and I have the abstract page, then I have the dedication. I will write something on the dedication, then I have the acknowledgement page. Okay, let's say this is just the first part of text, an abstract inclusion in the dedication. Then I will write the main part of the text, of just the document. I will start by setting the new file. I will say this one is just chapter. Let's say this is just the first chapter, or I will say this is just chapter 1. Okay. Then the first chapter. In the first chapter, I will include, this should be numerated. I will say this is the chapter, first chapter. And in the chapter, it should be chapter 1, let's say introduction. It should be an introduction chapter. Then in the main file, I will call this introduction. So I will include the introduction now. Include, I have now the chapter. I will compile this one. Okay. Now I have the acknowledgement. Then now, as we see here, now it starts from chapter 1. Since I didn't put any star here, it just includes the chapter number. This is chapter 1, and the title is just an introduction. I will put some text here. You can write whatever the file that you have in the introduction. Now I should put everything that should be in chapter 1 inside this the chapter 1 text file. So first thing, let's say I will put some chapter introduction with from 1 to maybe 2 paragraph. I will put some chapter introduction. I will have some time text. Then I will start just the subsections in chapter 1. I will have some subsection in chapter 1. So for subsection, I will use the subsection backslash using section. Inside the section, I will say first one, maybe the background, as an introduction. Then I will put some text inside this background. Then I will have another section, second section. This is just something I will say simply just second section. Then I will have the other section. So let's say third section. Just as an example, I will say this one as third section. Now, as we see here, now this is just first chapter, which is chapter 1. Now the first section is just because this in chapter 1, it should be just 1.1. Second subsection in chapter 1 is just 1.2. As we see, it is enumerated automatically. If we put some star this point, we cannot, if we don't need this 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 numbers before the sections, I can put this star before on the as a star of the section part. Now, as you see, the background doesn't have any numbers. If we want, we can do that one. So this is just for the first chapter. So I can do the same thing for the second chapter. I can write here, this one it should be the second chapter, chapter 2. Then in chapter 2, we can write in the second chapter, maybe it should be just the chapter of let's say literature review or something maybe. So maybe I will say this is the literature. After the introduction, it will be the literature review. Then I will include in the main file, I will include the second chapter. I use backslash, then include, and include then it should be chapter 2, just from the list. Now here this is just the first chapter. Then the second chapter, I see this chapter 2 has some literature review or something. Just we can put any text inside chapter 2. We can write anything in this chapter. I will put this some generic texts within this chapter. So I have this text in this just second chapter, first chapter. I have subsections, I have section, I have subsection. So the second thing, the most common thing is that for the main part from chapter 1 to the rest one until the end, we will use these Roman numbers as page number, and for the others, for the pre-documents, that for the acknowledgements, the dedications, these abstract styles, we use mostly the Roman numbers for the page numbering, but now I use the same for page numbering. So for this one, I will go to the main section. In main section, including this one, just before everything, I will start the page numbering. I will say this one is just the page numbering should be. I will put the page numbering as Roman. It should be just, it will give the pages in Roman numbers. So now it changes from the Arabic to Roman. It starts from this one. This is just, as we see, this is page number 1, page number 2, number 3. And now it continues with these Roman numbers. So in before the end of the acknowledgement, or before I start the first chapter, I will again change the page numbering. I will change the page numbering to Arabic. Here I will say Arabic. Now easily it changes the numbers from the Roman numbers to Arabic. Now until this one, it is just in Roman number 3. Then when chapter 1 starts, then page numbering also changes to change page number 1, page number 2, and stuff. Now it is just completed. Okay. This is the first thing that we can edit here. The second thing is from this one, then I have this bunch of texts. So I will include the table of content. The table of content should be before the chapter and at the end of this, the acknowledgement, next to the acknowledgement. So here I will include, this is just the text. So I will include the table of contents. So what I should do is just next to this acknowledgement before the page starts, I will put the table of contents backslash. I will say this table of contents, then I will compile this one. Now I have the table of contents. It has first chapter as an introduction, the next chapter which is a literature review, and it has a numbering in pages. Now I have the table of content which is next to this acknowledgement. I have, when I update anything inside the document, it updates by itself. Let's say when I say this one, let's say in chapter 2, I will include some sections. Maybe after this one, I will include some section just A, maybe just to give as an example in section A. Now section under chapter 2 starts with 2.1 and it gives its correspondence page numbering. Okay, then we can include pages, the images, some graphical images. Then I will show you how to put this table of list of figures. First thing I will create, just for the figures, I will create a new folder which calls the figures. Then I will create the new folder figures. Then I will click in figures. Then I will upload some figures from the my document. Okay. Then after that loading or that uploading the images, I upload these 3 different images. I have 3 different images in image folder. So I will include these images in my, let's say in my chapter 1. So in chapter 1, I will put one of the images in the background. Let's say this is the logo of LaTeX tips, just to give some introductions for the image. Then I will include, then by using use backslash, then begin, I will begin the figure environment. So inside the begin, this is just a figure. I will say the figure. Then it has a figure. I will click in figure. Then it generates the figure environment. Just the centering to put the figure in center. Then here include graphics. I will put the figure, the name of the figure inside the folder. First is just the folder inside the figures, then the name of the figure, and then on the caption, this is just the caption is that should be logos of LaTeX tips. Then here, this is just the label for the figure. This is just logo. I will call it logo. I will show you how to use this labels for the figures. Then I will include the second figure on this one. This is the logo for Overleaf. I will put the figure of the Overleaf LaTeX editor logo here. I will start with the same way. I will start the begin environment. Then this is just a figure. I will say this is the figure. The figure it contains three of the figures. Now I have the overleaf for the second one. The caption I will just keep it as overleaf. Then caption should be this one should be also overleaf. Okay. Then on the third section I will put for the LaTeX one. This is start begin for the figure environment. Then I will give it as figure. Then I will click. This is just a figure environment. Now in the include graphics, I will select this the LaTeX PNG image. Then this one is just LaTeX. Then the label should be also LaTeX. Okay. Now let's recompile the compiler for the PDF. Now I have the images for the first section for the background. I have another second section, it has its own image, and the third section, it has its own image. As we see here, now I have the image of the LaTeX, but it should be under the third section. So to make it on the specific section, I will put here some position identifier. I will put here H, which means just here next to the third section inside this one. It should be yes. As we see, we have the third section. Then next to the third section, we have the image, and we can put this here for all of the other image parts. I will say this one is it should be here, and for this one also it should be just here. Okay. Now, this is the first thing. Then I have now three list of figures. I have figure 1, figure 2, and figure 3. For three different figures, they have figure numbers, figure 1.1, figure 1.2, figure 1.3. Then you can adjust the size of figures, the position of figures, and everything. You can check my another video on LaTeX, how to adjust these figures and tables in this separate video. You can check the other video. Then after this one, I will include the figure on the, I will go back to the main file. In the main file, I will include, this is the text of the list of figures. So backslash, then the list of figures. I will write the list of figures, then I will recomp. Then let's go back to next to the list of the abstracts. Then as we see, we have now the contents, the table of content. Then I have the list of figures. I have three different figures. The first one in 1.1, the first one is just for the chapter. The second is just for the figure itself. The first figure, the second figure, and the third figure. Okay, if I moved one of the third figures, let's show you in the other way what it should look like. I will move the third image back to the next chapter. Let's cut this one. Then I will put this one to the next chapter under section A. Then it should be end figure. Okay, yeah, it should end the figure. So in the first chapter, I forget to cut this one also. Remove this. Okay, I will recompile this one. Now I put one of the images in the second chapter. So the figure number, it should be just 2.1, which means it is in the second chapter, but first figure. And this is just for the captions that we give in the list of figures. So whenever we update or we change one of the images, the numeration for the figure numbers or the page numbers, it's automatically updated when we recompile this LaTeX document. So we can easily check the document in LaTeX. This is how to insert just for tables. This is the same thing. After you insert the tables, just put or include on the main file kind of this one. The list of figures, that's just include the list of tables. This is the first thing. Then we will include the other chapters. This is chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. We can include methodology, some results of discussions and something. Then we will put some, let's say, conclusion. I will add one more chapter. That will be the last chapter. Just it should be just conclusion. The conclusion chapter. I will give this one as conclusion, or this, let's say, just some chapter number. You can give any chapter 1, chapter 2. This is the name is doesn't matter. So now in the conclusion, this is that it should be a chapter. I will include the chapter number first. In the chapter, then it should be the conclusion. Now in the conclusion, you can put some, let your conclusion is just whatever you write in your document. That will be your conclusion. So I will include the conclusion chapter, and in the main file, I should call this one. Okay. Now I also include the next chapter, which is the conclusion, because I didn't put any chapters. It gives chapter 3 as a conclusion. So now I include the conclusion. After the conclusion, I will put the bibliography. The next thing is after concluding, we will include the bibliography. So for the bibliography in this folder, we can put this one. Okay. Now I will click on the new file, and this should be the bibliography or the reference. I would say the reference. And this is the other are the text files that we did before. Now this one is not a text file, so it should be the bib file. For the bibliography, we will select the bib at the extension for the new file. So I will create the bib file. Here I have the bib file. So inside the bib file, I will put the reference in the bibliography. I have one bibliography copied. I will copy this one and I will paste here in the bibliography. This is just one of the references I took from the one of the references. So I include one of the first references here. This is just the first reference that I have. Now, when I click in the bibliography, where I compile, I didn't see anything. Then the next thing is I should include this bibliography in the main file. So in the main file, after including the conclusion, what I should include is just for the bibliography, I will use backslash, then the bibliography, okay, then the bibliography style. The first thing I should select the bibliography style. There are different styles, as you see here, the abbreviation style, these are the alphanumeric, they are different bibliographic styles. So you can choose the one that is maybe the university or that your university will have some kind of regulations on these bibliography styles. So you should check the styles, which bibliography styles are just used in your university. But for this case, I will use the plain format. There is also one of the bibliography styles. Then after this bibliography style, then I should include the bibliography. So backslash, then the bibliography. On the bibliography, here I have only one bibliography, just the bib file from this one, which is a reference. So I will include this bibliography at the end. So now I will compile again my compiler. But still I didn't see the bibliography because I have the bibliography, but that in the reference list I have one reference, but I didn't see in the bibliography. The reason is just I didn't use this reference yet. So if I didn't call or use the reference in one of the points in the document, then I didn't see the because that is just a useless reference. So I should first use this reference inside the document. So let's say let's put in chapter 2, chapter 1, chapter 2 or something. Let's put this reference in chapter 2. So to cite on chapter 2 after this one, if I want to cite on what should I do is this is my first reference. Then I want to put the reference here. This is my first reference. Then backslash cite. I put the name of the paper that I put here on the reference. This is some paper which is I use for the reference, which is the DDoS 2020 taker. This is the name of the file. Just to call this one, you can give any name on this point. So then I will go back to chapter. Then this is my first reference, backslash site. Then I put the name of the site. Then I will recompile this one. So the first thing that I see is here on chapter 1, because I'm in chapter 1 on this one. This is my logo of medtech tips. Then this is my first reference. You see here 1 as a reference. I will put the period here just because this is the end of the statement. Then the next thing is in the bibliography, we should see this the first reference in the bibliography. So as you see here on the bibliography, we have now the reference number 1, which is just the first reference at this point. So now we have the reference. Then the next thing is we may have some appendices. So the appendices are just not part of the main document. They are some extra documents or some remarks at the end. So I will put these appendices at the end of the document. The first thing, I will create a new document for the appendices. So I will click in the appendices for this one on the appendix. Then I put the file for the appendix. So I will put anything inside this document, the appendices. So I can say this is just this, let's say this is chapter. Now this is the chapter for the appendices. I will give the title as the appendices. You can put anything inside this appendix, A, B, C, C, something in the appendices actually. So first let's call this one and see what that gives for the appendix. Actually, I don't want to give in the same way as the main part of the text. So the first thing that I should give is first I should use backslash, then I will specify this one is just an appendix. So I will give in the appendix, then the appendix. Okay, should be n. Yeah, this is an appendix. Then I will include the appendix. Then include it. The include I. This is the appendix. Actually, the last one. This is the appendix text. Then I will compile this one and I will show you what this one gives. Then this is the bibliography. Then after the bibliography, actually I should write something. I should put some inside the appendices. Okay, there should be a chapter appendix. Okay, I will say appendices for this one. Okay, then I will recompile this one. Now I have the appendix. So previously, the first chapter, when I call this one as a chapter, it gives chapter number, chapter 8, just chapter 6, chapter 5, chapter 4, chapter 5. But now for the appendix, because I put before I include this appendix, I use just backslash this appendix. So it gives a different formatting. So now this appendix doesn't include the chapter number. So as you see, this is just the appendix. The first appendix A, just an appendix, the first appendix. So this appendix is just the title that I give here. So you can change this one. So if the first appendix is, let's say, some abbreviations or some formulas, then we can give this one maybe mathematical derivations or formulas. Okay, now here. So this is just the title that we need to give for the first one. Let's say this is just a list of constants or something. If we want to some constants to include in the appendices of the thesis, then we can give this list of appendices. Then we have the lists. Then we can give some different sections in the appendix. So the other thing is this appendix. Just we don't need the chapter number, so we should use on the main file. We should use this backslash appendix for separating this appendix to from the main part of the text. This is the point that I want to show. Now, the other thing is if we see here this if I include if I want to go to chapter 3 on the table of content or the list of figures, they are not interactive here. So we should add some hyperlink to make them interactive. For this one, I will go to the main file, and before the main file starts, I will go. First thing is I should include the package. So inside the package, I will add the package. Okay, let me include here the package backslash, then use package. Then in the use package, I will say this one is the hyperref. This is just the hyper then ref. For this hyperlinks, when after using this the backslash use package hyperref, then we put the setup for this hyperref. This is the setup for the hyperref. Then I will give the setup. The first thing is the color links, which is true. Just means just color all the links which are the clickable links to some specific color. The link to see all, which means just link to all the section and subsections of the document for this one. Then all colors to blue, just to give the super reference colors to blue, or we can set this one to some black, just for the whole black, blue, different colors. Then if we want to give specific colors for specific links, just for the links only, we can give, which means just the cross-referencing and the citations, we can give a different color for them. But I comment this one, I don't need to use. But after compiling, we will see what this. You see the previously the list of this contents was in black and that was not clickable. But now, as we see, they are in blue because I give it as blue, and they when I put on one of them, it gives some highlights the text, which means just if I click this one, it will move to the list of or the literature reviews in a PDF, or if we can also click on the others. Let's say if I click on the conclusions, it moves to the conclusions. Okay. Now we can navigate easily the document by using this the hyperref texts. Then the next thing is just for the references, as you remember, or it gives also just these references for the list of figures. If we have list of tables, it will add it to the list of tables. And also we have now, as you see here, you see this is also the link of reference. The reference is also clickable. Now I can click here and it moves to the list of references. It moves to the references. So we can use this hyperref package to make the links, the list of cross references for the figures, the tables, and the table of contents. Okay. Now, just for printing the document, for the printing purposes, actually, we need the document to be in. First thing is if we have many pages in the references, we may need to make them in two sides. So I will put here a square bracket. and it should be a two-side. Then I will go to the margins. So for the margins, I should use geometry. So use package. I will use the package geometry. Then I will define this is just the new geometry or the geometry environment. Then for this geometry, the first thing is the top. For the top, I will give for the top 0.75. 0.75 inch. You can check the specifications from your university. Actually, it depends on the specifications. Then for the bottom, for this example, I will use same thing, just 0. The most common one, 0.75 inch. Then for the inner margin, I will give this one the same thing, 0. For the inner one, which is just double to the outer, 1.5 inch. And for the outer margin, I will put 0.75 inch, 0.575 inch. Then I will compile this one. And okay, now I have the PDF file that will shorten this one to make it more feasible for this one. Okay, now as you see here, this is, since I put my document at 2-page, just on two sides. In this case, for example, on this page, you will see this is shorter margin side, which is the outer side of the page, and this is the inner, which is double to the outer side of the page. This is the even page of which is just the even page. But for the odd one, when we change the pages, which is just if we print on both sides, the inner for one should be on the opposite side of the outer for the next one, right? So on the odd side, the longer or the inner side is just on the left, but which is just as we see here on the left for this one, this page, the inner side is on the left here and the outer side is this one. Then when we turn this one back, which means just on the even side, the inner is on the reverse. Now as we see here, the inner page is this one and the outer page is this one. Just for printing purpose, if we make this one a two side, so the inner side should be higher and the outer side should be just have a less margin, but this number depends on the specifications actually. So the main idea here is just we can set the margins for the pages. I can easily put these margins, but it applies to the whole of the documents. If you have 100 or 200 pages, this one is applied to all of the documents in a whole. The other thing, we can make some decorations in our document. Let's say for the titles, there is some kind of decorations for this one. We can use some package which is called packages. We can use this one is just package. Okay, I should use package. So this package is called just the fancy chapter. This is just what the fancy chapter. We call this one is fancy chapter. Right? This is the name of the package. Then we put the name of the style for this fancy chapter. There are different kind of styles, but I will show you some of them. The first thing I want to show you the plain style. So I will compile this one and you will see what it makes for the title pages for the chapters. As you see here, this is the style for the chapter. This is for the acknowledgement. Then for the table of contents, this is just for list of figures. And for the chapters, you can put chapter 1, then introduction, next page. We can change this one. There are different styles. I will put them here in comment for you to see. So you can try what way they mix this. The most common one is just Sony one. The other one is this we call the Lenny, L-N-N-Y. This is another style. Then the other style is the Coney, C-O-N-N-Y. This is the more common ones and the one that I use. Just to show you what it makes, let's copy this one and check this one, what it makes. Then in this point plane, I will make it this one disappear. Then I will put this one. Then I will recompile. Then you will see what it makes. Now it changes. Just only the chapter one is rectangle. We put it inside the rectangle. Then the titles. This is the chapter 2. This is for the chapter 2. You will see this one as a chapter 2. So you can just play around. You can play around this one just to make it more fancy if you want to make the more fancy chapters. Then the next thing is I want to show is how to cross-reference the figures. Then after cross-referencing the figures, I will show you the footnotes also. Okay, now for the figures, I will open this one, just pop up this one again. I will move to chapter 1 because I put most of the figures in chapter 1. So now I have this logo figure, just I have the certain figure, and this is the logo of MA Tech Tips. Then if I want to refer the figure number as shown, maybe I will say something as shown in figure, maybe, okay, as shown in figure. Then I want to put the name of the figure code, the number of the figure. So I will use backslash, then ref, which is cross-referencing. Then in the reference, I have 3 options because I have 3 figures only now. So this is just for the logo. I will select this one at the cross-reference. So I will recompile this one and show you what it gives. Now, as you see here now, it says this is just as shown in figure 1.1. I didn't say 1.1, but I give the cross-reference, which is the label here. I give the label is used for cross-referencing. So I put the label for the figure as the figure of logo. I put this one in the cross-referencing. It gives the figure numbers. So if I update the document, it easily updates the figure numbers by itself, so I don't need to change at any time. And also this one is just given in uh, as a hyperlink, so we can click on each of the links and we can go to the text. Okay, so the next thing I want to show is sometimes when we have some figures, we will have some descriptions, long texts for the captions. So let's show you here this one. So for the logo of the overleaf, I will give on the caption some long texts for the caption. Let's give this one, instead of using this one, I will use the package, the Lipsum package, and I will give it this one as one, just like one kind of compact. So now my idea is, if we have the figure here and we have the figure caption, just sometimes if it is the diagram or some experimental setup, we will do some explanations or just the specifications for the or the lists of the materials or the setup to explain in the list of figures we have now. This is, if this is the caption for the image, the caption for the image I put this caption here, and when I see the list of figures, all the caption is listed there on the list of figures. So let's go back to the list of figures. Now, as we see here, this is just the first figure. The next figures, all the chapters, all the captions that I put under the figure is just listed on this figure. So if we don't want to put this bunch of the figure, all the captions in the list of figures, what we can do is here, this is just the list of the figures. So in the caption, before this, the curly bracket, I can put the square bracket, and inside the square bracket, I can put the short form of the title of the or the caption of the image. Then that should be for the list of figures. Then the caption itself is just kept as it is. So on this caption, I will put this. This is just the logo for overleaf. So I would write only this, the overleaf stuff here. Now I put this overleaf for the in square brackets, which means now on the list of figures, I see only this overleaf. Already I give some short form of the which represents the name of the image. But when I click in the overleaf, now here caption is not overleaf because I have the detailed explained caption for the image. So we can change. By this technique, we can have different labels for the caption itself, and we have different labels for the list of figures, not to put just the 3 or 4 lines of the list of figures in the list of figures. In the list of figures, I mean, this the whole caption is in the list of figures. So we can put a short form of the list of the name of the figure in short with the square bracket before this curly bracket. We can put this one. Now, this is all about the video. I will conclude by this one because now in this video we will see how to insert this list of tables. How can we divide the document into different chapters, because we can write different chapters, we can compile and see each of the chapters differently. It's not to put them in bunch of all the documents in one. So we can have different chapters in the main file. We see also how to use bibliography, how to insert figures, how can we use the hyperlinks for the table of contents, this list of figures, to easily navigate them. Then how can we make this the fancy chapters for this one, figures and this caption styles. The last thing that we see is how to insert these bibliographies. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and also like the video.